we go. Hold on. Mic is not up all the way. There we go. How's the mic now? Mic is good. Camera's a little crooked. Looks a little crooked. Tilt it just a little bit that way. All right. That's going to be good. We're fine. Kind of an inauspicious start to today's show, wouldn't you say? So let's do it again. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, everybody, to the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran, coming to you live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. We do this every day. It's a rundown of current events, hot topics, trends, headlines, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I try to give it to you here every day, starting around about noon o'clock. It's performed, this, yes, is a performance, as a stream of consciousness, which is essentially just whatever is next in my mind, I say it. If it's on deck, it comes out. I don't filter. I don't govern. None of that stuff. I got no breaks, no commercials. We don't play music. We don't stop for traffic. None of that stuff. This is talk radio, unfiltered, and completely unlike anything you're going to find anywhere else. Why? Because we're not political here. Because I don't give a shit about your politics. People, you've ruined talk radio in this country. Everybody, you can only, no, you can't listen to that show if you vote this way. I'm tired of it. So this is a show, a talk radio show, done every day for 3 years now. 3 years now here on the RadioMisfits.com network. 3 years we've been doing this kind of talk radio, and you people are the reason we keep going. Talk radio for normal people, we like to say. We've got a story about some non-normals today. It's a good example of who this show is for. I always like to say that this show is for a certain kind of person. There are 15% crazy people on the right, 15% crazy people on the left. That leaves 70 in the middle. That's 70% of Americans who are basically normal. They may not vote the same way, that's 70%, but they're normal and they can get along and everything is fine with them. It's the other 30% that ruins everything. Who are these 30%? Well, here's an example. If you've ever been kicked off an airplane and then gone viral screaming some nonsense, you're not allowed to listen to this show. If you've ever been arrested in a Target or a Walmart or a Kroger or wherever the fuck it is, if you've ever been arrested in one of these places embarrassing yourself, your family name, and your community, you're not allowed to listen to this show. And if you're one of those people who isn't invited to Thanksgiving anymore because nobody wants to put up with your bullshit, you are not allowed to listen to this show. This is talk radio for normal people. So come one, come all, spread the word. Also needs to be pointed out that we are in the middle right now. Not the middle, it's the start. It's the start, if we're being honest, of another pledge week. Let me direct your attention to the stream, that the scroll, I believe they call it. It's Pledge Week around here. We need to raise X amount of dollars by 1 week, by the end, 1 week from today. That's it. That's as far as we can go. Show is funded for 1 more week, so we need to raise $350, I think was the number. If we can get to that in a week, if I can earn $350 in a week from doing this show, we can continue. Now, one of the ways that we sweeten that pot is that we award the title of executive producer. Executive producer of the show is the person who was the biggest tipper on the day before. We've got a new executive producer today, don't we? Hold on, let me see. Yes, we do. There she is. Tracy D. Tracy D is our executive producer today because yesterday during the show, Tracy, she tipped first. Tipped biggest. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to leave this up. This is how you do it. This is how you contribute. 1 week, we've got to get that number all the way down, and then we can all breathe a sigh of relief. And I can stop being a bullshit evangelical beggar for a little while. All right, that's how we do it around here. How does the show unfold? That's probably what you're wondering, although if you're not a new person, you're probably not wondering at all. 4 quarters. Break it down into 4 segments. The first one is This Day in History. We call that Antecedently on This Day. The quarter 2 is Birthdays. People born on this day. We talk about them. Are they cool or do they suck? Quarter 3 is Deads. People who died on this day. Historical figures, notable quotables, celebs. Where'd they go? That's the question we ask in quarter 3. When they died, they go to heaven or did they go to hell? And then quarter 4 is everything else. Quarter 4 is everything that we're talking about today. Everything, all the good talk radio topics that other talk radio stations simply will not get into because they have nothing to do with party politics. Let's say hi to the chat room. Hi, chat room. Hi, Jeff is here. We got the Sports Bras here. We got CC. We got Jen. We got Toronto. We got Mikey D. We got Cam here. Everybody's here. Where are you? Semi-sponsor of this daily rant is, of course, they're hard to open the cans. Probably bottled in some Eastern European. All right. Code Mix, ladies and gentlemen. Code Mix. They don't actually give any money to this show, but they do give us free product, and I sincerely love Code Mix. I think it's good. It's an organic partnership between me and Code Mix. I just found it. I drank it. I was like, this is weird stuff, and it tastes really good, so I started talking about it. And now all of a sudden we get Code Mix dropped off by the caseload here at the front door, and I'm not asking any questions. Once again, a new slogan for Code Mix. Code Mix. So tasty, it's probably going to kill you. All right, that's not a good one. That's not a good one. They're not all going to be good. I still think that, the strongest one is Code Mix. Buy it now before it's illegal. Something like that. Like you think you're living on the edge. Kids today, they don't care. They want to live on the edge. Code Mix. Thank you, folks. Let's see. Look at that, Frank. Look at what advertising does. See that? Frank, he's in the chat room. He's like, Code Mix, I want drink. There you go. Get out there, Frankie. Get yourself some Code Mix. It's good. It's probably better with alcohol, but I don't know. I don't drink much alcohol these days. What are we doing around here? Small talk segment. What do I have to talk about here in the small talk segment? I got nothing. All right, there you go. All right, that's going to do it for small talk. Should we just get into the show? Should we just get started with the rant? Should we just get warmed up? Should we just go for it? I think we should. Why not? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Moran. As I say, we do this show every day, Monday through Friday, round about this time from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery on RadioMisfits.com. It is the rant for the 30th day of October. That's Jesus. Of course, October. 2024 is the year. It is the 304th day of the year. 304 days have passed in 2024. There are 62 remaining. So as we like to say around here, get those New Year's Eve plans started. Okay, here we go. Quarter 1, antecedently on this day. This is where we take a look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of this day. It is a fancy way of saying this day in history, or previously on October the 30th. Previously on October the 30th, in the year of our Lord, 1938, Orson Welles broadcasts a radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, causing a massive panic in some of the audience listening in the United States. I love this. I love Orson Welles and the Mercury Radio Theater's rendition of War of the Worlds. Oh, it is so great. But I love radio drama. I'm just waiting for that to become a thing because I want to be involved in that radio drama. I love that. My son and I know that it's not just a thing. Oh, because you're old. Dude, I didn't grow up in the 1930s. I didn't grow up listening to radio drama. No, my son and I listen to this thing all the time when we're trying to crash out. It's on YouTube. It's the old CBS Radio Mystery Theater. And they're just like these little stories. And you start listening to them, and you never get to the end of them. You fall asleep 15 minutes in. But that's why it's magical. Magical. And the next morning, you're like, how far did you get into this story? And then he's like, I got to the part where they were in the garden, and then the statue came alive. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, I got a little bit further than that. Anyway, radio used to be that. There was no TV. So your episodic television, your serial storytelling was all done on the radio. And Orson Welles was like this 15-year-old. He's like a 15-year-old. Actually, I think he was 20. But he was still a young kid, man. And he was like directing the CBS Radio Mercury Players And he decided on Halloween Eve he would do a bit where aliens landed in New Jersey, and they would do it like breaking news, thus fooling the audience. This is something that we're all pretty akin to now. Fake news, parody news, satire. Americans didn't know what to make of it. A lot of stupid people jumped out of buildings. People died because they thought aliens were real. Nobody thought to turn the channel to see if maybe another channel is like covering this as well. No, they all just stayed put and listened to, well, we were ignorant. We were ignorant. It's not their fault. Communications and mass media. It's on this day, 1938, Orson Welles, War of the Worlds, on the Mercury Theater Players present Orson Welles' adaptation of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. There you go. It's a lot to say. Antecedently on this day in the year 1944, during the Holocaust, so this is going to be up-tempo, Anne and Margaret Frank are deported from Auschwitz to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, where they die from disease the following year. All right, there you go. Antecedently on this day in 1945, Jackie Robinson of the Kansas City Monarchs signs a contract for the Brooklyn Dodgers, breaking the baseball color line. Hey, hey! How exciting. Jeff says actually only a few people got freaked out by it. All right. Apparently Jeff was there. I don't know how you quantify or how you actually present facts about that. That's an opinion-based statement. It was an incredibly effective thing. How do I know this? Because it's 2024, Jeff, and we're still talking about it. So why are you being a pain in the ass? Actually, very few people were still talking about it. Had an impact, Jeff. We'll get to you, Jeff. Jeff out there in the Iowa cornfields. Got a story today about how Iowa didn't know how to do Halloween. Don't blame Jeff for this one. All right, let's keep going. Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier. Good for him. That was on this day in 1945. On this day in 1985, the Space Shuttle Challenger lifts off for mission STS-61A. Its final successful mission. Oh my God, the way that's worded. Ominous, right? Like that's worded like if you're really reading it and not just glancing over, you're really reading it, that's a pretty ominous statement. It was on this day in 1985, the Space Shuttle Challenger lifts off for mission STS-61A, its final successful mission. What do you mean successful? Because it blew up, of course. It blew up on the next mission. 1985, Space Shuttle Challenger, finally. Or not finally. Well, yeah, it was its final mission. All right, let's keep going now. Quarter two, let's move into birthdays. Let's talk about some people who were born on this day. Let's decide whether or not we think they're cool enough or deserving of a happy birthday. Or just a go kick rocks loser, we don't like you. Born on this day in the year 1735, a great American, John Adams. Second president of these here United States, John Adams. Happy birthday, John Adams. There you go. Born on this day in 1936, Dick Vermeil, American football player and coach. Here's what sucks about me. This dude was born in 1936. This dude is getting up there in age. Dude was born in 1936, and I'm old enough now, apparently, to remember when Dick Vermeil was the young, hot, he's going to innovate football. Man, Dick Vermeil, born on this day in 1936. Born on this day in 1939, Grace Slick, American singer, songwriter, and model. Don't model? What? Grace Slick ain't hot. Well, I guess that's not a prerequisite to be a model. Can be a weird looking model. There's a whole bunch of models who are weird looking. And now this isn't the case with Grace Slick because she probably was a real model. But now anybody can be a model. It's like, I'm dating a model. What does that mean exactly? She's got a page on Instagram. That's not a model. It's not a model. It was bad enough like 15, 20 years ago when it was like bikini models. Like, I'm a model. Like, what? You walk around and hand out free beers at bars. You're not a model. I mean, kinda, but you give off a different kind of, when you say it that way, you make people think, oh, might I have seen you on the runways of Paris, Milan? No. Anyway, there you have it. Grace Slick, born on this day in 1939. She's cool. Happy birthday, Grace Slick. Born on this day in the year 1945, an American actor, comedian, director, producer. I just call him a goddamn American icon. What? Hold on a second. Hold on. I did something wrong. Yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go. All right. Make sure we can see this right, because we got to show this. Because this dude is an icon. This dude is an icon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Henry Winkler's birthday, the Fonz. Now, I love the Fonz. And why are we looking at a blue screen here? Don't worry, it's not your computer, it's mine. Fonz, here we go. Remember this? Fonzie jumping the shark. That I love that term, jumping the shark, is it's used ubiquitously. It's used to connote any kind of situation that is no longer fun, that is no longer good. This is not good. This started out good, but it is no longer good. Jumping the shark comes from an episode of Happy Days. Henry Winkler, our birthday boy, played Fonzie, played Arthur Fonzarelli, the coolest guy on the planet. He was the biggest star on TV. I mean, he was, to me, I was like 6, 7, 8 years old. He was like God. Fonzie was like the coolest thing ever. I mean, crazy. Anyway, so there was an episode of Happy Days, probably around season 6, 7, 8, something like that, where they went out to Hollywood. Here's the context for Fonzie jumping the shark. Do you guys remember this? And I think this is the context. You might correct me, but I think this is it. So they go out to Hollywood because a casting director in Milwaukee discovers the Fonz and thinks this is the new James Dean. So they bring the Fonz out to Hollywood for screen tests and whatnot. And of course, because it's a TV show, Fonz can't go by himself. He's got to bring the entire Cunningham family, the entire Arnold's drive-in family. He's got to bring them all. So they all go out for a special Happy Days episode where they go out to Hollywood and Fonzie tries to become a movie star. Now, what ends up happening is while they're out there, guess who gets discovered instead? Richie Cunningham. Richie Cunningham is discovered by casting directors and they stop paying attention to Fonzie. So Fonzie gets a little bit, jealous. So Fonzie decides that he's got to do something to make himself cool again. So here we go. This is what happened. This was Fonzie jumping the shark. Apparently somebody said, Fonzie, you can't jump that shark. And he said, yes, I can. And so it was an entire episode of Happy Days. And now it's a part of the American vocabulary. Okay, so first question. I get it. I get sharks. This is around the time of Jaws. We were all very afraid. I lived in the Midwest. I was very afraid of sharks unnecessarily. But also, why is Fonzie wearing a leather jacket? Why is he still wearing a leather jacket? Isn't that salt water going to ruin that jacket? He's out there. He's skiing. He's going to jump a bunch of sharks. This shark right here. He's going to jump a shark, and he's wearing a leather jacket. There he goes. Fonzie's not even wet. There it is, jumping the shark. Fonzie disappeared for a while. Henry Winkler disappeared for a while. After Happy Days, it's like, how do you go from being one of the most recognizable and famous people in America and around the globe to just suddenly, what's next? He fumbled around. Fonzie was such a cool character. It was such a well-defined character. We talk about people who get Gilligan. Fonzie might have gotten Gilligan to an extent. But the problem or the difference with Henry Winkler and the portrayal of Fonzie is that he was completely different than Fonzie. It turned out that Henry Winkler was kind of a dork, kind of a nerd, kind of the total opposite of what Fonzie represented. So when he started doing movies, we started seeing him, like Night Shift, which I think is an incredibly funny film. One of my favorite comedy films of all time. Michael Keaton, Henry Winkler, of course, Shelley Long, directed by Ron Howard, Opie Cunningham. right? Richie Cunningham from Happy Days. So he casts Henry Winkler after Happy Days. He casts him in one of his earliest films, Night Shift. Great film. Then he kind of does nothing. It's like Henry Winkler does nothing for 20 years. Then he pops up once again. Ron Howard created the show Arrested Development. And once again, all of a sudden, Henry Winkler, he's playing Barry Suckercorn, the family attorney, who was so funny. And we're seeing Henry Winkler, nothing like the Fonz, just as this incredibly funny, bumbling, sexual deviant attorney for this family. He's very funny. And then Barry. I don't know if anybody watched Barry. Henry Winkler had a whole nother career on HBO. HBO's Barry. Henry Winkler is an icon. God love him. Seems like such a kind and gentle man. Just what a great guy. Happy birthday. So yes, we are wishing a happy birthday to Henry Winkler. Born on this day in 1945. Born on this day in 1947. Kind of a pretentious name. I think it's kind of a pretentious name, but he didn't get much love, so we're gonna shout him out here. Born on this day in 1947, Timothy B. Schmidt. Timothy B. Schmidt. Who's he? People are like, who's Timothy B. Schmidt? Timothy B. Schmidt is a very important member of two very important bands that were both abandoned by a guy named Randy Meisner. I don't know if you know who Randy Meisner is. Randy Meisner is an iconic American singer-songwriter, member of the Eagles. Randy Meisner was a founding member of the band Poco. Remember Poco? And then Randy Meisner left Poco to go be in the Eagles, and then they replaced Randy Meisner and Poco with our birthday boy, Timothy B. Schmidt. And now Poco's still trucking along, and now Randy Meisner's over in the Eagles, but then Randy Meisner decides he doesn't want to be in the Eagles anymore, so Randy Meisner leaves the Eagles, and he's replaced in the Eagles by Poco bass player Timothy B. Schmidt, our birthday guy. Timothy B. Schmidt, a girl once told me, was the hottest Eagle. I've never really, think about that. Did you ever think maybe if you're a girl, you would. But as a dude, have you ever thought okay, who's the hottest Eagle? As a dude, as a straight heterosexual guy, just if you're okay, your job today is determined for a marketing campaign. Who the most attractive Eagle is. Could you do it? I'd never thought about that. I'm they're all kind of weird looking, right? But no, she pointed out that Timothy B. Schmidt was actually very handsome. And I'm okay, I guess I can see that. He also has a real high singing voice. Sang a number of Eagles songs. He had a hit. What was his big hit with the Eagles? It's like, and it doesn't sound like the Eagles. I don't think people think it's the Eagles. I think people just think that's a one-hit wonder band from the 70s, but it's not. It's the Eagles. What is the Timothy B. Schmidt? I can't tell you why. That's it. That's all I can do of Timothy B. Schmidt, but that's the song. I can't tell you why. That's it. Timothy B. Schmidt, Eagle, Poco, born on this day in 1947. And as a girl once told me, the most fuckable member of the Eagles. I think it was Kelly, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. I think it was Kelly who had that position. Not antecedently, born on this day in 1961, very funny comedian, the great Larry Wilmore. Love Larry Wilmore. Happy birthday to you, Larry Wilmore. He used to have a show that was after The Daily Show. It was really good. Didn't last very long. It's too bad because it was great. Larry Wilmore, born on this day in 1961. Born on this day in 1965, Gavin Rosdale. Bush. Got a machine head. Is the next line in Machine Head? Because if it is, I want it to be the next line. I could look this up. I could look up the lyrics to Machine Head. But when I hear Machine Head, I want to sing, got a machine head, better than the rest. And I'm not sure better than the rest is the line there. I hope it is, because that's a funny line. Dude, everybody else is normal, but he, for some reason, has a fucked up machine head, and he's trying to justify it because he's real self-conscious about it. It's got a machine head. It's better than the rest. No, it's not. It's a machine head. I don't know. I like Gavin Rosdale. There he goes. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1965, Gavin Rosdale. Born on this day in 1969, or so I'm informed, it's Snow's birthday. Remember Snow? Informer, He was America gave the world Vanilla Ice, and I guess Canada said, hold my Molson, because he was sort of like the Canadian Vanilla Ice. Get it? Snow. Because Canada's got snow. All right, he was born on this day, snow, 1969. Born on this day in 1981, a gal that's just kind of been hiding in the shadows. We ain't seen a lot about her. It's too bad. I like her. Look, shut up, man. You're allowed to have, everybody's not the same, okay? Give a happy birthday to the lovely, very dignified. How can you say that when she, oh, shut up. The only Trump I think I'd consider voting for, Ivanka Trump. Ivanka celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1981. All I'm saying is she's not. I don't think she's entirely like. I'm just saying, how I feel about Trump. Don't like that guy. Haven't liked that guy since the 80s. I've always thought he was kind of a joke. Don't get it. Some of you people think that he's the second coming. Good for you. But I'm also not one of these people that hate everything about everything that has anything to do with it. Happy birthday, Ivanka. You're a lovely woman. You're probably the best thing that your father ever did. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. She seems fine. Stop it. But she did this and did that. I don't know what she did, what she didn't do. You know what I do know? I know that when she gets on camera and in front of a microphone, she doesn't shit the bed and she doesn't act like an asshole. Okay? That's what I'm judging her on. Ivanka Trump having a birthday today. Born on this day in 1981. Born on this day in 1987, Ashley Graham. You guys know who Ashley Graham is? I have always referred to Ashley Graham, and I mean this positively, as Fat Cindy Crawford. She's like the plus-sized model. Look at her. This plus-sized model who I think, I don't know if she's like solely responsible for it, but we have seen in my lifetime, we have seen so let's just keep it to my lifetime. So let's say like 70s, 80s, 90s, right? 2000s, I guess. I suppose we'll consider modern times. We've seen a radical change in what society deems attractive in the female form. A radical change. And I know it's still, you still got a lot further to go, and it's not. It used to be like when I was little in the 70s, the acceptable and desired female frame was rail skinny, no boobs, flat butt, tall, thin, straight hair, everything rail skinny. Then aerobics came in, and then they kind of taught us a lot about the body and how you could shape the body. And then a new form in the 80s, I call it the post-aerobics bodies came in. It also coincided with the introduction and popularization of the breast implant. So you had a completely different kind of body that was deemed attractive in the 1980s. That would be like the hard body. Remember the hard body called because it's worked out. Now we've got Nautilus machines. Like people are actually working on specific bones. So now you got a different kind of body. Still thin. You're not allowed to have any extra weight on you. But if you do have extra weight, you need to turn it into muscle, or you need to get the breast implants. So that was the 80s. Then in the 90s, we had this sort of resurgence of what was popular again in the 60s and 70s with the Twiggy model look, except we just called it heroin chic. Became a whole new thing where the sicker and closer to death from AIDS or some crack addiction, the closer to that you looked, it seemed to be what people were lusting after. It became like, the new look. And it was dangerous because, a lot of dudes with daughters, man, I know guys with, I know at least, well, I shouldn't say at least. This is not the kind of thing that you go, well, I know at least. I should actually think about the individual. So I know one that I would comfortably say. I know of one friend who has a daughter who went through, she's older now, but went through eating disorder issues. And it's very scary. It's very serious. So this chick here, Ashley Graham, she kind of burst on the scene 10, 15 years ago. And if you remember, I remember talking about her 10, 15 years ago. And, a lot of the guys back in the guy talk, it was fat chicks. What, we're making fat chicks hot now? And I'm here to argue, I don't know that this chick, Ashley Graham, who's celebrating a birthday today, I don't know if she's a fat chick or not, but I do know this. She is hot as hell. That's why I call her the fat Cindy Crawford. Whether or not you think I mean fat pejoratively, that's entirely up to your interpretation, but you should probably be cautioned to measure your emotional response to that. Because this is all woman, man. Look at that. She looks amazing. Now that I'm not down with. That's a little bit much. That's a little bit much for a pregnant woman. But, all right, she looks good. See, this is just a pow. And my point is this. 15 years ago, when this woman first started being talked about, first started becoming famous, I don't love that dress on her. I think that's pushing it. Pow! Look at that, man. Like 15 years ago, when this woman would burst on the scene, she was fat. By today's standards, does anybody think that she's fat? She's amazing, Ashley Graham. Tell me, come on, seriously. You know what I mean? Cindy Crawford. She's even got this little speck right here. She looks like Cindy Crawford. It's just she's not a size 0. Anyway, there you go. Ashley Graham. She is gorgeous. And I do not think she's fat. And I wonder, I guess the whole point of this is, I don't think she's fat. But I wonder if in 1995 I would have. In 1995, would I have been, because apparently, at least as far as I'm concerned, what I deem, and you have no control over it. You don't have any control over what you find attractive or not. It just happens. It's just one day you're like, yeah, I find that. So I'm not going to apologize to it. But I do honestly think that maybe in 1995, I would have looked at that differently than I do in 2024. And I have to now ask, is that indicative of a larger change? And I believe, yes, it is. Ashley Graham, born on this day in 1987, celebrating a birthday. She's hot. Should all be so lucky. She's fat. Nobody is calling her. Nobody would kick that woman out of bed. That is, first of all, it looks like it's going to be a warm bed. It's going to be a warm bed. All right, let's move into the deads. These are people who've died on this day, people who've passed away on this particular day. We decide whether or not they went to heaven or hell, based on nothing more than off the top understanding of who they were as individuals. Dead on this day in 2000, Steve Allen. Steve Allen, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Allen was ultimately a dumb fuck, but he was also a genius. Steve Allen invented the Tonight Show. Everything that we think, the whole thing, here we are a million years later. When we close our eyes and go, talk show, picture one. What we picture is a desk and a dude at a desk and a couch and people on a couch. That's Steve Allen. Steve Allen invented all of that stuff. Early days of TV, first hosted the Tonight Show. He's up there. He's killing it. And of course he's killing it. By today's standards, the shows were probably terrible. But back then, remember, 18 people in the country had televisions. And, the entire community would come over to someone's living room to watch TV. Anyway, he had a big audience. He was big. He invented everything that we take for granted now as far as late night talk shows go, Steve Allen. And then he thought to himself, he went, well, people kind of like me on this stupid little side hustle I got going TV. But I need to go back where my bread is buttered. And that is, of course, musical theater or whatever. Anyway, Steve Allen's an icon. He invented TV. He walked away from the Tonight Show. He handed it over to Jack Paar. Jack Paar would also walk away from it. Johnny Carson would make it an institution. And on this day in 2000, Steve Allen died and probably went to hell. Why do I think he went to hell? Well, I just think that everybody involved in Hollywood back in the 1950s and 60s, by today's understanding of what is and isn't acceptable behavior, they'd all go to hell. Dead on this day in 2002, Jam Master Jay, American rapper and producer, a member of Run DMC. You can best believe Jam Master Jay's in hell. Whole bunch of documentaries on the Jam Master Jay situation. Whole bunch of them. I think I've seen a few of them. I don't know. Still don't know exactly what happened there, other than I think that guy was involved in some pretty shady stuff, and that's why, although he died on this day in 2002, he went immediately to hell. Dead on this day in 2015. All right, here we go. Here's a big one. Did everybody go to hell? Steve Allen went to hell. Yeah, dead on this day. Jam Master Jay went to hell. Dead on this day. All right, that's going to be him. This guy is definitely not going to hell. You know why? Because dead on this day, year of our Lord, what was it, 20? We'll pull his picture up. I'll show him to you first. Look at this. Look at this son of a bitch. Look at him. Dead on this day in 2015, the great Al Malinaro. Murray the cop from The Odd Couple. Big Al from Happy Days. We were just talking about Happy Days. Happy Days with Jump the Shark. Big Al from Happy Days took over Arnold's Drive-In. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this son of a bitch. Tell me you don't want to just eat a hamburger from this guy. Tell me this ain't a guy that's going to make you feel, look at him. Look at the big nose. He's all ethnic looking. He's acceptably 1960s ethnic looking. It's like you're like, oh, he could play an Arab. He could play an Italian. He was Italian, obvious. He could play a Jewish guy. It's the nose. I'm just saying. That's how they cast back then. Look at him. All right, Big Al, where do you think he's going? You better damn well believe it. He's going to heaven. Al Molinaro. Look, Arnold was a very popular character. And when Arnold was replaced by the new guy, I'm just saying, those were big shoes to fill. And I think Al did an admirable job of filling the shoes of Arnold. Adam Reyna calls her the fat Cindy Crawford. He spells it P-H. Whatever, man. I prefer that over the actual Cindy Crawford. As women get older, as women get older, you want them to be a little bit squishy. Because they're nothing grosser. Have you ever seen these old women? I know an older woman. I know a woman who's in her like late 60s. And she's in really good shape. Like she's like super skinny, and she like works out and power walks and all this kind of stuff. And it's like when you see her arms, they're like, nah, man. Nah, I think when you're older, you need a little bit padding. A woman needs to be a little bit more rounded. Cindy Crawford's too skinny. Is that Ashley Graham? Like I say, man, I look at her and I think that's a warm bed. That bed is gonna be warm. Extrapolate from that whatever you will. I just look at Ashley Graham and I think warm bed. All right, that's going to do it for the first 3 quarters of today's show. Once again, a reminder that we are in the middle of the pledge week here, so please support this show if you can. We've got 1 week to raise $350. We'll keep a running total, and we'll be thanking those of you who help along the way. 1 week. Let's move into quarter 4. This is where we get into all the hot topics, current events, and all the things that people are talking about today. One quick little warning. I am going to possibly need to step away here briefly, again, just for like 45 seconds. Just to handle a little something there at the front door. Hasn't occurred yet. Could occur at any moment, and I'm going to have to step away. So if you grant me that luxury, I promise to give you a 100% passion-delivered rant for the next 2 hours. We don't have to do that just yet. So why don't we get started here? Okay, let's see here. Moving into quarter 4. These are all the big topics that people are talking about. What do we want to get into here? What's the first one? Israel. All right. Israel. I don't know what to tell you about Israel. There ain't nothing to report. World War III probably not going to start. It looks like diplomacy works. We don't get the cool TV show with things blowing up where we're like, you see that blow up? We don't get to do that. But ultimately, this is the better result. Looks like diplomacy is working. So there we go. There's our Israel update for today as I'm going to move the clock back. I was at like 1 minute to midnight as far as, our Here Comes World War III. I'm going to move the clock back. We're like at 5 minutes to midnight now, I think. I think we're at 5 minutes. I think we don't even know. Here's where we are. We don't even know whose turn it is, right? Because this has really just been waiting for people to take their turns. Israel takes their turn against Hezbollah. Hezbollah responds. Israel takes a shot at Iran. And we wait for Iran to respond. And then Iran responded. And then we were just waiting for Israel to respond to that. Okay, so I guess Iran's up. Iran's up. Follow that. There's more fun things to talk about today. There are more interesting conversations being had in these here great United States. I think worrying about how close we are to World War III beginning, like so for my MAGA friends, and I got a lot of MAGA friends. For my MAGA friends, what's the matter? What's the matter? You hurt? What, Biden get you? Biden zing you? Called you garbage. Biden called MAGA garbage. Biden called MAGA people garbage people, essentially. I'll give you the exact quote. That's basically what happened. Biden's like, he's all like half dead. And he's like, huh? What? The only garbage. It was like a bad joke, too. He's like, the only garbage that I see are the Trump supporters. Garbage. Like it was just like really awkward because he's not there anymore. He isn't. I don't think he's been there in 2-3 years. But so Biden calls all the Trump supporters garbage. He's like, yeah, garbage. And I don't want to go off half-cocked. What's the problem? Well, what's the problem with that? He called you garbage. Are you hurt? Did he hurt your feelings? Are y'all snowflaking? Are y'all? Because you motherfuckers have been calling this cadaver of a president like, Brandon and all that shit. Fuck Joe Biden. You've been doing this shit to him. You're surprised that he's like, hey, fuck you? First of all, I don't get that. I don't get the whole thing, the faux outrage. It's really just the media. It's the media who are stoking this up. There isn't one Trump supporter who heard that clip from Biden yesterday and went, what? What did the president of the United States say about me, an American citizen? What did he say? Not one fucking MAGA person had that response. You know who did? The people on the news. We have sunk to new lows with the president of the... Oh, shut the fuck up and stop it. This is big boy time. Trump talks shit all the time, for fuck's sake. First of all, weak ass burn. Okay, Biden? First of all, it's not even a good line. It's a stupid line to begin with. But what is the process? I don't get the response. I don't get the faux outrage. I don't get people upset. The president called me garbage because I support Trump. Yeah, you're fucking garbage, man. You've been talking shit to this guy, Biden, for years. You think he's just going to be like, I'm Jesus, I love everybody. No, fuck that. He hates you people. Of course he does. You people have been fucking mean to him. What do you think the natural human response to that should be? Now, we would want that to not affect the way he governs, and I don't think it has, regardless of everybody going, FEMA ignored North Carolina. No, they didn't. Shut the fuck up. The governor of North Carolina is even like, everything's fine. But I don't think he'd do that. But he has every right as a human being to be like, yeah, fuck those people. Those people have said horrible, horrible things about me. Horrible. And now I fire off one fucking half-dead one-liner, and he must apologize. See, this goes back to that bullshit. This is where Hillary Clinton lost any respect out of me. Any respect that I may have had for her was totally gone after the deplorables thing. Because I got to tell you, a lot of the people back then, this is, I'm not a Trump guy, never been a Trump guy, but I looked at a lot of those people that Hillary Clinton called deplorables, and I went, yeah, fuck those people. Those people suck. Those people are terrible. They don't know nothing. Those people do suck. And I lost all respect for her because, remember in the blowback of that, how can a candidate refer to the citizens of this great country that is terrible and we're going to make it good again, but right now it sucks? How can she speak to the citizens of this great nation in that way? And Hillary Clinton and all of her people, they fumbled and they were, we're so sorry. We didn't mean it. Fuck you. Double down. Double down and say, no, you know what? If this is what you believe, you suck. You are a deplorable person. That's what she should have said, but she didn't. She tried to have it both ways, and she was revealed to be a bullshit politician just like the rest of these people. Trump wins because he doesn't cotton to any of that bullshit. He doubles down, he triples down, he stays with it. He understands all his crowd wants is for him to keep spoon feeding them all of these things. You know, they carry double down. He's not going to apologize. They see that as weakness. All right. So Biden goes, the garbage. And now all of a sudden, and I like how Biden's like just laughing about it too. He's like, yeah, fuck you people. I'm going to apologize. Biden's like, I don't even know where I am half the time. You think I'm going to apologize for something I said last night? Ain't going to happen. You people forced me out. Whatever. Now this is good though, because we want to see Dana Carvey's Joe Biden on Saturday Night Live, right? Gotta see that. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Do we have it? Well, I guess after all that, I should probably show you this, right? Yeah, why not? Here you go. Here he is. He doesn't even know. He's like in a Zoom call. I'm surprised he didn't pull his dick out. Here he is. All right, let's go, Joe. Let's hear it.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Tina is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
He didn't even pause for the laugh break. He moved right on to the next thing. The only garbage I see out there are his supporters, and I'm telling you, I promise you, a bunch of his supporters in our chat room. None of you people lost a wink of sleep last night because the president of the United States called you garbage. You didn't. It's not how you react. You're being told that that's how you need to react by people who are just trying to gin up a narrative. And that's what happens every goddamn day in this country. There's a new narrative being ginned up. You weren't offended by it. On a purely intellectual and objective level, you're like, yeah, he probably hates us. We fucking hate him. Why wouldn't he hate us? I mean, you understand that, okay? You people root for sports teams. When fans of the other team talk shit about you, you don't cry. This isn't heartbreaking to you. It's just another example of how we're all being ginned up. This is a non-story. All right, let's keep going. Aubrey Plaza has inserted herself into the whole Puerto Rican thing. Did you know Aubrey Plaza was Puerto Rican? I think I did. But again, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I think she is Puerto Rican. Audrey. It needs to be pointed out, Aubrey Plaza, just before we play this, okay? I just need you all to know, and I need you all to understand this. Aubrey Plaza can do no wrong. She can do no wrong. I'm one of these weird Aubrey Plaza cultists. I'm not big about it. Like, I don't have posters of her in my room or anything. But like anything she does, I will stop and I'll be like, okay, what's Aubrey Plaza getting into? I think she's brilliant. I think she's brilliantly funny. I think that she's just got the coolest energy, and she's just like a badass. You know, she kind of has energy like, what's this actress's name? Mary Louise Parker. Do you remember Mary Louise Parker? I think she was on Weeds. She played Nancy Botwin. Anyway, as an actress, her and Aubrey Plaza have the same kind of disassociated, not really in the moment, you know, distracted by something else that's going on inside your head, but still paying attention. I don't know. Anyway, Aubrey Plaza is brilliant. I love her style. I love her energy. I love the way it's easy to just, say she's a goth kid. No, she's not. She's not. That's maybe the base for where her character grew from, but she's disassociative with her acting, which is just what I love. Anyway, so she's Puerto Rican. And remember Tony Hinchcliffe, who I also love. Tony Hinchcliffe, very funny, very mean, very, how would I say it? I almost said very racist, but he's not. I don't believe he's racist. He's, he pulls no punches. He makes fun of everybody. How's that? There you go. Not so much white people, though. If I'm being honest, I don't know that Tony Hinchcliffe makes fun of white people. His whole brand is that it's interesting because he's a white person who is saying things that would otherwise be racist, but they're kind of true. Like in Kill Tony, which is his podcast, when he tears apart a black comedian, and he's not lying. I don't know. Anyway, Tony Hinchcliffe got up at the Madison Square Garden rally that Trump had over the weekend, and he did his Tony Hinchcliffe stuff. He did his jokes. He did his shocking, roast humor. And he took some shots at Puerto Ricans, as we've already covered with Joe Biden. He said that there's an island of garbage floating in the Caribbean, and I think it's called Puerto Rico. All right, there's the joke. That's Tony Hinchcliffe humor. That's what you sign up for when you bring him in. I don't know people are shocked by this. Aubrey Plaza, who now, I'm just going to say it, America's #1 Puerto Rican. Why not? Let's let her have that. She was speaking to the Wall Street Journal yesterday. Here, let me see if I can pull this up. Do I have it? Was this Wall Street Journal? Maybe it was. New York Times, whatever. She name checks it in this thing, so we'll find out. But Aubrey Plaza giving a speech yesterday, speaks as a Puerto Rican woman in America. She has a message for Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't know if it's directly for him, but look, long story short, it's Aubrey Plaza, and she's going to get time to say whatever she wants on this show. Here we go.
Puerto Rican woman. I just wanted to very quickly respond to the racist joke that was made at that Trump rally about Puerto Rico, where most of my family is from. Thankfully, my sweet abuelita wasn't here to hear that.
Can I just point one thing out that I kind of noticed in this that I think is maybe a little performative, but that's okay. She's a performer. She's an actress. She's a theater girl. She's a drama geek. I had never, ever, in all of my years of admiring the talents of Aubrey Plaza, I have never heard her speak with what I would consider to be a Latino accent until right now. Right now. And it's not just on, her abuelita. It's not just on her pronunciation of that word. Listen to the way she's talking. She's kind of talking. She's like, I can't do it because I'm a middle-aged white man. If I do it, it's racist. But she is speaking with an affectation, a tone, possibly even an accent that I don't believe I've ever heard her use before. It's not a problem. I am simply observing that I've never heard her be so obviously Latino before. And again, not a problem. I love her.
Very quickly respond to the racist joke that was made at that Trump rally about Puerto Rico, where most of my family is from.
That, where most of my family is from. I can't do it because I'm a white guy. Where most of my family is from. I mean, come on. I'm here in Cheech and Chong. I don't think I've ever heard that before from Aubrey Plaza, but just, look at her.
Thankfully, Trump to very quickly respond to the racist joke that was made at that Trump rally about Puerto Rico, where most of my family is from. Thankfully, my sweet abuelita wasn't here to hear that. Disgusting remark, but if she was alive today, I think she would say, Tony Hinchcliffe, go f*** yourself. And yes, the Wall Street Journal can quote me on that.
All right, there you have it. Aubrey Plaza. She is a delight, ladies and gentlemen. Just a delight. Throwing down and getting involved in the whole Tony Hinchcliffe thing. I'm telling you, Tony Hinchcliffe is funny. He's funny. Separate the art from the artist. If you got a problem with him even appearing at a Trump rally, as I say, separate the art from the artist. I want to point out Al in the chat room. I think he says that Tony Hinchcliffe is like Bill Burr. I got to push back on that. No, he's not. No, he's not. Bill Burr is a very different. Bill Burr is an outrage comic. The core of what Bill Burr's entire voice is, his comedic voice, the core is that he's at his wit's end. Think Lewis Black, very similar kind of. Bill Burr is at his funniest when he's ranting about something, that whole thing. So he's an outrage comic. Tony Hinchcliffe is a different kind of comic. He's not outraged. He's being judgmental. Tony, he's the guy in the corner. He's the wallflower, the nerdy kid who's making fun of the cool kids, the jocks. That's different than what Bill Burr is. Also, just on a pure talent level, I don't think there's any comparison. I think Bill Burr is far gooder. I swear to God, I almost just said far gooder, ladies and gentlemen. I think Bill Burr is far gooder than Tony Hinchcliffe. But I like Tony Hinchcliffe. I think Tony Hinchcliffe is funny too. Al says, I agree. Bill is funnier, but we know Tony's humor. Yeah. Barney says this has got to be about the lovely Aubrey Plaza. Watch your mouth, Barney. Here's what Barney says. Barney says, she sounds like the drunk girl at a party you wish you hadn't started a conversation with. I do not see any situation where I would regret starting a conversation with a girl like Aubrey Plaza. I just don't agree with you on that one. I do love the Cecily Strong throwback. Cecily Strong, remember her? She was so great on Saturday Night Live. What happened to her? She's sexy. She said there's something very sexy and appealing about Cecily Strong. She used to do one of her characters was drunk girl you started a conversation with. It was so funny. I think I like Cecily Strong because she got kicked out of Chicago Catholic school for selling weed to other Catholic school girls, and I just think that's hot. All right. Adam says that Bill Burr is best at digging a hole and pulling himself out by making fun of his own shortcomings. Yeah, that's a great example. All right, let's keep going here. Let me see here. What else do we have? So we talked about why Aubrey Plaza is trending. We talked about Biden calling people garbage. Supreme Court. All right, Supreme Court has decided in favor of an ongoing Virginia vote purge. Apparently, they're throwing out a bunch of votes in Virginia for various reasons. They've tried to stop this from happening, so it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has said, nope, they can keep purging. Supreme Court's conservative justices allow Virginia to resume its purge of voter registrations. The Supreme Court conservative majority on Wednesday allowed Virginia to resume its purge of voter registrations that the state says is aimed at stopping people who are not U.S. citizens from voting. I love that turn of phrase because if you're not a U.S. citizen, you can't vote. I don't know if people know that. Like, I think people think that like a dude from France can get off a plane on election day, walk into a polling place and go, give me my ballot. That's not how it works. But if you were running a scam where you were trying to get non-citizens votes, you could do that. That you can do. So, see, it's complicated. It's not just, it's more than just, I'm all for that. If you can uncover some bullshit voting schemes where you know that these people who are registered to vote aren't real people and therefore should not be allowed ballots, if you can prove that, then who would be against that? But this idea, I just always push back. There's two things that are very popular among stupid people. And with all due respect, if you're one of these stupid people, I do apologize for any insult you take at this. But come on, man! One of them is the idea that that French guy can get off a plane on election day and walk in and just be handed a ballot and allowed to vote. There are people who think that. The other thing is like this, like 9th month abortion. Like I hear a lot of people talk about this. Well, the Democrats, they want abortion in the 9th. I'm like, that's not legal anywhere. Never has been. That's like a completely made up scenario. Well, your doctors in California, they decide, if the woman is like, I don't want it after all, they smash its head with a hammer. Like these things that are going around that people believe. I don't know, whatever. The Supreme Court, this is what the Supreme Court is for, people. I don't know who's upset about this ruling, people on the right, people on the left. I don't care. I don't play that game. But this is what the Supreme Court is for these kinds of situations. And I still have trust in the institutions. The Supreme Court is awful. I don't know. They seem to have gotten a lot of big things right over the years. I don't know of any decision in the past 20 years that the Supreme Court, and specifically the Roberts Court, I think the Roberts Court has been pretty damn good. when you consider all the big landmark decisions that they've made. The Roe versus people. Look, people are going to be on both sides or one side or the other on a lot of them, but I think they're very strong decisions that were made by wise and considered individuals that were, done in the best interest of not this country today, but in this country's best interest for 100 years from now. I still trust that. I'm a sucker. I guess I need to watch more Newsmax or whatever. Anyway, that's what's going on in Virginia. So the purging of what are believed to be phony votes can continue, according to the Supreme Court of the United States. Paul Pelosi's attacker. Remember this? This is where a lot of you people. So here's the thing. So y'all got upset with Joe Biden calling you garbage. Okay. So if you were one of the people who in the days after Paul Pelosi was attacked by that fucking weirdo, if you were one of the people that was they were gay lovers and you promoted all that, you're who Biden was talking about. You're one of the garbage people. This is an old fucking man who got attacked in his house and you turned it into a political fucking roast. Hey, he was in his underwear. Something was going on there. Fuck you, man. I mean, look, if that's who you are, cool. That's fine. I got a lot of friends who are that. I got buddies who are he was a gay prostitute, right? But my buddies can take it when somebody goes, you're fucking garbage for thinking that way. And they're yeah, I am, I guess. Whatever. So, Biden was talking about you. The people who, when Paul Pelosi was attacked by a hammer by some wackadoo, you guys thought that was great. You're garbage. You're garbage, and you have to be okay with that. You can try and not be garbage. That's a choice, but you don't have to not be garbage. You can just keep being you. You're fine. But you are garbage. So that guy who broke into former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's home there in San Francisco and beat the fuck out of her old man husband with a hammer. Such a weird story. He was a prostitute. No, he wasn't. Where'd that story go? What happened? Well, it's been covered up because of the trilateral commission. Oh, shut the fuck up. So that guy ain't got time for your nonsense. This is a fucking crazy political lunatic with a long history of being a political lunatic who was ginned up by the narrative in this country to kick in the door of Nancy Pelosi's house looking to kill people. That's the long and the fucking short of it. And that guy is now going to prison for life, and rightfully so. Where I hope he can get the goddamn care that he deserves, because that's not a normal human being. That is a human being who he needs to sit down. Very least needs to talk to somebody for an hour a week. I don't care if we're keeping him locked up in a fucking veal cage or whatever. Once a week, that dude's going to need to talk to somebody, because we need to figure out that's not a normal guy. That is a crazy person who was ginned up by the madness of the era that we live in. Fucking nutball. Anyway, California, they're putting him in jail forever. Yeah, well, that's what they said about the Menendezes, and, I think we understand that they're probably going to be walking here soon. A bunch of newspapers, we talked about this, a bunch of newspapers are deciding not to endorse this time around. There are, of course, the Washington Post made the biggest news when after 100 billion years of the Washington Post being the Washington Post's whole moniker, their whole brand is democracy dies in darkness. It says it right there on their masthead. And they're run by Jeff Bezos. And they are, for the first time in forever ever, not going to endorse a presidential candidate. The LA Times has also followed suit. They're not going to endorse a presidential candidate. Now, a lot of people, and I happen to be on this side, a lot of people are Bezos doesn't want to fuck with Trump. Bezos is look, man, I need to be able to work with whoever the hell slides in here next. I know I'm going to be able to work with Kamala. I don't need Trump being petty and fucking bullshit. That's what Jeff Bezos is thinking, okay? That is also what critics said when people like Jeff Bezos began buying up and entering the publishing industry. That's not the mindset of a publisher of news and information. You can't have that. So of course Jeff Bezos, the businessman, is reacting like a businessman. So anyway, that's the big thing. You're afraid, you're coddling Trump, you're worried about what if he wins, you don't need to put up with the bullshit, so you're just not going to be involved this time. Gutless, feckless, whatever word you want to apply to it, that's what it is. What they're saying in defense, Jeff Bezos took out, I guess, a big ad where his defense is interesting. And it's interesting because it works. Because it makes sense. Because an objective mind could hear Jeff Bezos' reason for not choosing to endorse a candidate this year, and a reasonable mind can hear that and go, yeah, okay. I don't know that I think it's an honest one, but it does work. And I guess when you're Jeff Bezos, you pay people to come up with these things. Jeff Bezos is just essentially saying that the problem with these times has a lot to do with the perception of the media as being unfair. And now in this new era of media in this country, one that he's a big part of, he thinks it's time to start a new tradition where newspapers stay neutral in deciding presidential elections or whatever. So I totally understand that. I'm like, okay. Kind of convenient, though, that it's like this time around, right? Like, this is the time. So anyway, the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. Washington Post has lost over 250,000 subscribers in the last 48 hours. The LA Times has also lost over 200,000 subscribers. So I don't know. I don't think that's a business where you can lose 250,000 subscribers in 48 hours, but we'll see. I also, here now is my thoughts on this. I think it's just adorable that the newspaper industry still thinks that people here, us, the peasants, the great unwashed, that they still think that they hold some kind of power over us. Nobody is waiting to hear what the Washington Post says to make up their mind about who they're going to vote for. It's not 1917, okay? I don't need the newspaper. We've all made up our minds. It is stupid. There is some credence to what Bezos says about maybe newspapers need to morph into something that doesn't endorse, but instead just reports. Maybe that is something. I don't know. It is convenient for his particular set of problems that, Trump is the candidate here, that he gets to go, yeah, we're not going to endorse. Now's a good time to start that policy. So anyway, there you have it. Four Seasons in Atlanta, the fancy-ass Four Seasons in the, what do they call that there? The Peachtree District, something like that over there in Atlanta. The Four Seasons had a dude, this is crazy. Yesterday afternoon, a dude at the Four Seasons in Atlanta, he just started opening fire. I mean, yeah, like throwback to the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, where dude just started shooting out of his window. This dude, this is a 70-year-old man. Okay. He wasn't staying at the Four Seasons Hotel. He was living at a condo at the Four Seasons, which means this dude had money. This is a 70-year-old rich guy living in a condo at the Four Seasons. We don't know what happened. He went a little bit nuts. It began with him throwing shit out of his window. Then he donned a Halloween mask. Then he saw some people filming him across the way. There were people across the way in another building, and they were filming what this guy was doing, throwing stuff out of his window, off his balcony, and all that stuff. So he left, and he reemerged with a gun, and he started shooting at the people who were filming him doing this other crazy stuff. Anyway, here we go. We got video of this. Let's take a look at it. This is the guy. Is this the actual video? I think this might be. Show it to me, baby. Come on. Yeah, no. No. That ain't it. For fuck's sake. All right. After all of that, what? Now we ain't got it? What's this? Oh, maybe we'll get it here. This is from the Daily Mail. Hold on. It's good video, too. I copy and pasted the wrong link. That was me. I did it. Hold on. A suspected gunman was arrested after terrifying footage captured the moment he opened fire from a high-rise balcony during a mental health crisis at Atlanta's luxury Four Seasons Hotel and condominiums. The gunman, J. Stephen Berger, 70, was seen with blood across his face as he was taken into custody on a stretcher. Shot a cop, only one victim. Cop got shot. You gotta be kidding me. Hold on, where's the video? Video's pretty good. Well, here, first of all, I'll show you the guy. Boom. There he is. All right. So there's the guy. Look at him. I think he's got a Hitler mustache. Is that a Hitler mustache? Looks like this dude's got a Hitler mustache. Anyway, that was my observation yesterday. First thing I thought. He looks like he himself got shot. Maybe that's glass or something like. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Show me the video. I want to see the video where he starts shooting at people. We got more pictures here. Hold on. Gotta wait for all these pop-ups. All right, so there, this picture here, he's in the middle. That's the window. He's like waving. He's throwing shit off there. Really wish we had the video. Don't have the video. Had the video yesterday. So here he is throwing. Okay, so here it is. He's throwing a chair. Show me the video. I hate these British tabloids. They're no good. What's this? Well, let's watch this video. They're going to make us watch a commercial, I'm sure. Hold on.
Today's digital workforce keeps evolving.
Yeah,
Your skills should too. With Keller Graduate School of Management, get the tools to help you succeed in business, technology, and leadership. Learn more about Keller today.
All right, here we go. This is the video. Nah, this ain't the video I was looking for. This is just the police standoff. Or wait, or is it the video? No, it's not. All right, never mind. All that for nothing. Anyway, nobody really got hurt, but a crazy dude started squeezing shots off from his fancy Atlanta Four Seasons condo, and he had a Hitler mustache, and we're going to move on because that was really an entire segment that was based around one piece of video that I didn't have the correct link to. So I apologize. So the Halloween comet, have you guys been following this? I know we talked about the comet a couple of weeks ago. The comet was streaking across the night sky. I don't know. It depends on, I'd heard like look in the southwest sky an hour after dusk, look in the northeast sky. I don't know. I never saw it. I never saw the stupid comet. In the last couple of weeks, they started calling it the Halloween comet because they believed that it would be visible all the way through Halloween. So the Halloween comet was something we were all looking forward to out there in the night sky on Halloween. And guess what? Nope. The Halloween comet has exploded into the sun, they're reporting. We thought maybe we'd be able to see it, but no. They've been tracking it for like a couple of months now. Halloween comet breaks apart after flying too close to the sun. Boy, isn't that a story as old as the ages. A recently discovered comet that some stargazers had hoped to see during Halloween week has disintegrated before the day of ghosts and ghouls. It flew too close to the sun. Sometimes I get into reading these things. I get like one paragraph in and I'm like, why did I think this would be a good story for today? Why was that something? All right, you guys, I got to take a quick break. I told you I might have to jump away. I do. I heard the doorbell ring, so I got to go run over there. I'm going to be right back, I promise you. And you know it's true because it says it right there. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. Now we're back. Thank y'all so much. Put that back up there. Support the rant if you can. Thank you, today's executive producer, Tracy D. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get back in. Where are we? We were talking about. Oh, okay. All right, I got Jeff. Jeff's like, you better check on third trimester abort. Yeah, I have, Jeff. You know how rare they are, and you know what kind of extreme situations have to. Just stop it. It's a disingenuous argument on your point. You're acting like just willy-nilly. The argument is, Jeff, that people seem to be walking around thinking that if a woman changes her mind in the 9th month, that it's totally legal to just fucking murder that baby, and it's not. You know that's not the case. The issue with third trimester or late trimester abortions is 100% about the health of the mother and the baby. They're extreme situations, so don't be disingenuous in your argument that third trimester abortions are happening and it's what the Dems want. It's not something anybody wants. It's something that ends an incredibly difficult situation for human beings. People running around acting like, well, they can always get an abortion in the 9th month if they change their mind. That is not how it works. Stop it. Just stop it. You fucking people, Jeff, you can't even get Halloween right. That's right. I just used Jeff to segue into our next story, which is about how apparently Iowa doesn't know what Halloween is. Never heard of this before in my life. I've been on this planet a lot of years. I've been living right next to Iowa for a whole bunch of them. Hell, I have been in Iowa State, for Halloween one year. So I've actually spent. And as I recall, it was Halloween, right? It was. No. So anyway, here's the deal. I guess I shouldn't be impugning all of Iowa here because it's just the city of Des Moines, which, if I'm being honest, Des Moines kind of cool. It's like one of the coolest. Des Moines is a secret. I'm telling you, people. Des Moines, Iowa is a secret. Anyway, point is this. Des Moines, Iowa has never had Halloween trick-or-treating on Halloween since like 1938. Yeah, they didn't want to do it. They were like, yeah, I don't know what the deal was. Probably some 1938 Karen or some shit. I'm not getting into this with Jeff. I'm saying they don't happen. No, your argument is disingenuous. It's not a big issue. It's not an issue that we should even be fucking talking about, but it is a grotesque issue that rings a lot of bells for stupid people. So that's why it's front and center as far as the things we're talking about. Nobody is going around getting late-term abortions. It's not a choice. It's not what people are fighting for. You bringing it up and acting like it is a thing is what's disingenuous. Now let's get back to Jeff and his state's inability to perform Halloween the way normal people do. Okay, so I guess here's the story. I'm just being mean to Jeff because honestly, it's kind of quaint and it's kind of nice. Halloween doesn't exist in Des Moines, Iowa because instead they have a holiday since 1938 called Beggar's Night. Beggar's Night. And wait till you hear what this is, because this is actually kind of cool. This is neat. I wouldn't want this to change. In a first since 1938, Des Moines, Iowa, kids in Des Moines, Iowa, will trick-or-treat on Halloween. Des Moines, Iowa, for the first time since 1938, children in Des Moines will go trick-or-treating actually on Halloween. Going door-to-door for candy on All Hallows Eve has long been commonplace throughout the country, but not in Des Moines, Iowa, where the state's capital city took a different approach more than 7 decades ago in hopes of tamping down on hooliganism. Halloween hooliganism. Now, I can't speak to what it was like in 1937. Had to have been pretty bad because in 1938 in Des Moines, they went, we ain't doing that again. So whatever happened in Des Moines, Iowa, Halloween Eve of 1937, I don't know that that's representative of Halloween. Halloween has this reputation as like, devil's. I've never Have you ever been involved in anything bad on Halloween that you did because it was Halloween? I mean, I've done bad shit on Halloween, but it's not because it was Halloween. It's because if it was just Friday, I'd have been doing that bad shit. I don't. But like this Hollywood idea of like everybody TPs houses on Halloween and, people get their undies grungy. I don't remember any of that. I don't know. I think that's all a fabrication. However, once again, in 1937 in Des Moines, Iowa, apparently some shit went down because in 1938, the people in Des Moines said, we ain't doing that again. And they started something called Beggar's Night. Going door to door for candy on All Hallows Eve has always been commonplace, but Des Moines took a different approach more than 7 decades ago. Instead of that, Des Moines children don their costumes. All right, that's good. You still got costumes involved. Big part of the whole celebration. Got to have costumes. Very good. So kids in Des Moines still get costumes on Beggar's Night. And typically the day before Halloween. And besides screaming trick or treat, children in Des Moines, Iowa are expected, here you go, this is what I like, are expected to tell a joke before receiving a treat. That's it. Come on. That's where it gets fun. Come on. Handing out candy, every kid's got a joke. Because, it would have to be like, if I were a kid, I'd have a whole bunch of jokes. I'd have, because if I was the person handing out candy and a kid told me a joke that I already heard before, I'd go, nope, already heard it. Give me something else. That's fun. This year, Beggar's Night was set for Wednesday, tonight. But because of expected heavy rain and thunderstorms, officials in Des Moines have officially delayed trick-or-treating until tomorrow, Thursday. So Des Moines' Beggar's Night will, in fact, occur on Halloween for the first time since 1938. I was making fun of Iowa. I have to really stretch to make fun of Iowa. It kills me, too, because Iowa is such a wonderful place. Isn't that like the most wholesome Norman Rockwell Halloween kind of story? Iowa's too good for you, Jeff Ballard. I'm just teasing. All right, let's keep going. Let's see here. So we talked about Beggar's Night. Okay, how about this one? Here we go. Wanted to talk about this. This is not good. This was, why didn't I pull up any pictures here? What's the matter with me? Got to do a special lady. Yeah, find the right one. Because there's right. You got to have the right. This is pretty good. That's a pretty good one. All right. All right, here we go. Another big story here. You guys, Terry Garr is dead. Terry Garr is dead. Terry fucking Garr is dead. Got to be honest, probably haven't given Terry Garr a thought in 20 years. I don't know. The last time I watched Close Encounters with my kid. So, where did Terry Garr go? Terry Garr, I don't know if you people, what's the cutoff on Terry Garr appreciation? It's got to be Gen X, right? Okay, I don't know that millennials really understood how everywhere Terry Garr was for about 15 years. Between what, like 77 and like the early 90s, right? She was like everywhere. She dominated the 80s. She was everywhere. Everybody loved Terry Garr. Terry Garr in Close Encounters. Terry Garr in Tootsie. I don't know if she was in that. Terry Garr in a million Terry Garr movies is my point. You know what? Fuck that. We're doing a Terry Garr draft. That's right. Terry Garr died. We need more pictures. Cute. She looks so cute. You know what she was? She had like this magic. She was in this sweet spot. I'm a big fat narcissistic middle-aged white man, and I'm quite confident when I sit here and I judge the physical attractiveness of women. You would think I might have some, self-awareness about maybe keeping my mouth shut, but I don't. It's part of my cocky charm. So we're going to talk a little bit about Terry Garr. Never really saw her. And this is part of the allure of her. I never saw her as a sexual being. Like I saw Bo Derek in a certain way. I saw Farrah Fawcett and Jacqueline Smith in a certain way. I did not see Terry Garr in that way. You know who else I didn't see in that way? You know who Terry Garr was very much like? You know who I would say was Terry Garr's main competition back in this time? Goldie Hawn, right? Right? Goldie Hawn. Terry Garr, Goldie Hawn. I don't know that Terry Garr was ever the A-lister that Goldie Hawn was. But man, Terry Garr was good and everything. Look at her right there. Look at her. She is just pretty enough to be the best looking girl you ever dated. And yet, by Hollywood standards, she's the homely friend, right? That's who she is. This is, ladies and gentlemen, by 1970s, this is the unfuckable friend from 70s Hollywood. That's what the unfuckable friend looked like. Look at her right there. Oh, look at her. She was so sweet. She's had this, look at those eyes. Oh, well, age. There you go. Still though, Terry Garr. All right. She had some incredible moments over the years with David Letterman. She used to, people forget about that. They had, for about a 10-year period, Terry Garr and David Letterman had this kind of flirtation. Let me see if there's any of that. That might be something fun to watch here. Let's see if there's like best of Terry Garr, David Letterman. There was like this flirtation for years, and people were like, are they fucking? Are they doing it? Is there a thing between Garr and Letterman? Show you it. Young Frankenstein, huh? We always forget about that, right? Terry Garr. I don't want that. Holy crap! She's been on David Letterman so much. There are. All right, let's see what this is. Let's watch a little bit of Terry Garr, just a delightful woman from 70s and 80s movies. She's dead now. Hold on. Let's see what this is. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. All right, let's watch a little bit of Terry Garr and how charming and delightful she was.
There'll be plenty of surprises when David Letterman comes to CBS, but we can probably expect plenty of appearances by Terry Garr. Now, recently I asked her why she and Dave have this mutual admiration thing.
I have great respect for David Letterman because he's an artist in his own way, and he's a very talented and smart guy. And he works his butt off, you know? He works very hard.
Well, you know, some people, Letterman throws people sometimes on the show, but he never has thrown you. Not literally, but I mean in a figurative.
But he tries to, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
I think he does too. People tell me that. They say, God, he's so hard on you. I go, well, I didn't notice that. I don't notice it. We just have a conversation. But then it isn't just a conversation, is it?
No.
It's something else. But you know, I'll tell you why I admire him too, is that he really has guts to stand up for himself. Because look at this situation. I'm not saying anything bad about any particular networks or anything, but here, NBC had him for so long, and they said, no, you're not getting this Tonight Show spot. We're giving it to someone else, and we're just going to leave you right in there, and you're trapped as a...
All right, so I want to point something out here, and I sort of alluded to it. I thought this was going to be a compilation of her on the David Letterman show because she was such an amazing guest. They had such killer chemistry together. It's not, but it's sort of... This is how, see, David Letterman wasn't romantically ever linked to anyone for years and years. Meryl Marco a little bit in the beginning, but he wasn't. So people just sort of, I think, assumed that David Letterman and Terry Garr were like some kind of an item just because of the way they interacted. And look at this interview. They are interviewing Terry Garr about David Letterman's move to CBS. They are interviewing Terry Garr like she's his wife. They're talking to her like, I mean, it's just crazy. Anyway, hopefully in a second here, I'm going to give it a couple of more seconds and then maybe we'll see a little bit of that Terry Garr, David Letterman energy.
Prisoner in that time slot. And he had to have the guts to say, no, I'm not. I'm going to move on. And I mean, that takes guts. You really have to be strong to do that. And then when he did it, they said, well, we're just going to make this really hard on you. You can't take any characters that you created. You can't have anything that you did on our show. Anything you did in our building, you can't take with you, and you leave your clothes there, too. I heard that. You can't take any of his clothes. Well, I mean, that's, so they're being a little bit 8th grade about it all.
When you walked out that first time to sit in that guest chair, what was going through your mind? Do you remember?
Well, I think I was very nervous. Although I had done a show before with him, and not his show, a show when he was on the radio in Indianapolis, and I was promoting, Young Frankenstein, and I drove through there, and I met this guy out in a radio station, and so then when he did that show, I said, do you remember me? Do you remember me? I was the guy that asked you what kind of car you had. I said, yeah, I remember. He even sent me the tape of the show that we did. So I thought I wasn't nervous. I was much.
All right, we're going to fast forward a little bit here. I want to see her with Dave. I don't need any more of this, them talking about it. What the fuck? Okay, here we go. All right.
But then what for? I don't care. I mean, it's not what I do, really.
Yeah.
I just like it. I shouldn't do it so much.
I think this next gal is swell. She rings the bell. She was in that last Coppola film that didn't do well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Terry Garr.
Hi. Have a seat, won't you? Very nice of you to come out after that introduction.
Nice lyrics.
It's Harv Man, Terry Garr.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
You have things there on your head.
Really?
Yeah? Well, you knew that, didn't you?
No.
No, you have those about...
Oh, yes, I did. No.
Yeah. How are you? Nice to see you.
I got to interject here. We're talking about Terry Garr, who passed away yesterday at the age of like 1 million. She was much older than I thought she was. Terry Garr, as I've been saying, was everywhere. If you were a kid growing up in the 70s and in the 80s, she played the mom, she played the teacher, she played, whatever. And I talked about, like, one of the things that is so magical about Terry Garr when someone my age is now looking back at her throughout, all of these years, is that I can honestly say it was never about finding her sexy or attractive the way little boys think back about, Bo Derek or Farrah Fawcett or all that. It was just there was a warmth there. There was just like this kindness and this decency that just drew people to her. With all of that said, I am a grown-ass man looking at her here in 1982, and I am telling you, I was a 10-year-old kid or whatever I was. I didn't know shit, because this is a fine-ass woman. This is a 10, man. This chick is awesome. I mean, I'm just objectively looking at Terry Garr in 1982 through a lens, a male eye that I don't think I ever really noticed because I was a kid. I was prepubescent back when I first started appreciating her. Holy shit, Terry Garr is a beautiful woman.
See you again.
Nice to see you, too. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Been a while, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And now you live, let's get this straight. You're not living in New York.
I'm not at liberty to say where I'm living. I'm sorry.
What do you, for legal purposes, or?
Yes.
No, really?
No. Well, yes, as a matter of fact.
Did you wear those on the plane coming out?
Yes, I did. As soon as I found out this was going to be a special. No, I bought these right out on the street. Every corner sells these.
Uh-huh.
You can get little stars or hearts or things.
Yeah. Another reason
people
to vacation in New York, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
They sell these. The guy that invented these said, I got an idea. I'm going to make $1 million. We're going to put these stars in.
Yeah.
He's not
How much did you pay
$1
for
million.
those?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Not
All right, they were
talk
$3.
about.
You can get 2 sets of them for $5.
Mm-hmm.
In case you have
Any
a
kind of
friend.
guarantee there?
No guarantee.
Now, when you're out walking around on the streets, do people recognize you pretty much? I mean, you've been in a lot of big time motion pictures.
It would seem so.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I'm not recognized a lot.
All right, hold on a second. I want to point something out because I've been reading what's going on in the chat room here. A lot of you are. Barney introduced the conversation of the Terry Garr clone line because, of course, we know that Hollywood creates these clones. Some very interesting things have been brought up. And who preceded Terry Garr is very interesting. You can see anybody from Doris Day types, possibly even Sally Field types. There's some Sally Field parts in there. Some Debbie Reynolds pieces, definitely. But as far as the ones who come after, I'm seeing a lot of really interesting, like clones, Hollywood clones that were created after Terry Garr, based on the Terry Garr model. Shelley Long is a good one that Barney offers. Helen Hunt, another one. Barney also says it's Vivian Vance as Ground Zero, as the original. I don't know about that. No, I think the original is probably who was the blonde comedian girl who was really funny, Billy something. I don't know. I think that might have been the beginning. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Because as I'm watching her here, I'm reminded of what the obvious clone of Terry Garr, the most dead. There you go. And Peter comes in with it. It's exactly what I was just going to say. She's Lisa Kudrow. She is Terry Garr. Lisa Kudrow is doing Terry Garr. That's how I would say. I bet you. And wasn't there crossover? Didn't they actually cast Terry Garr to play Phoebe's mom in Friends? Wasn't Terry Garr Phoebe's mom? That's just like perfect. Anyway, here you go. We're watching a little bit more David Letterman and Terry Garr.
I bet you are, though, because you're on TV.
No, I don't. No, it doesn't happen.
You don't go out, though. You don't go out.
No, I go out occasionally. I go out, sure. Mm-hmm. No, I do go out of the building. You'd have to go out of the building eventually.
Do you?
Yeah, sooner or later, you got to go out. Now, do people say anything to you on the streets other than, would you like to buy some stars for your head?
No, they say, most people think they know me from someplace. Mm-hmm. And they say, did we go to high school together? I said, I don't think so. I'm an actress. No, it's not that. I said, yes, I'm an actress. I was in this, I was in that. No, what else were you in? I end up standing there telling total strangers, long list of credits, and each thing I say was Black Stallion. They go, no, it wasn't that. I didn't see that. Well, how about this? No, it wasn't that. I know we went to high school. Where do you go to the cleaners, they say to me. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm just one of those.
Well, that's nice of you, though, to take the time and talk with them.
It is. I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, you met. Now, just let me address myself to what Harv was singing earlier. What is that like when you work a long, long time on a motion picture? What are you doing?
I was just looking at this. Is this in honor of the festivities?
Oh, yes, part of the special.
Fabulous.
It is fabulous. The whole show is fabulous, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, you work on...
All right, there we go. Sorry, guys. Had a little bit of a issue on my side. Enough of that. Enough of the absolutely adorable Terry Garr. Now let's check out her filmography. That's what I was looking at here. Because I was like, we do a Terry Garr draft. I'm like, could I do a Terry Garr? I didn't even think about that. She started doing films in 1963. She apparently first began in Fun in Acapulco. I don't know what that is. She was probably a young little something or other in a little bikini. Fun in Acapulco. I'm trying to see the first movie that we would know, maybe. She was in Head, 1968. You guys know about the story of Head? Crazy-ass Easy Rider type movie. She was in The Conversation. There you go. Okay, so now we're getting into real movies. Gene Hackman, The Conversation, great film. Followed that up in 74. She did two big movies in 74. She did The Conversation. And then she followed that up with Young Frankenstein. as the ingenue. Oh my God, here we go. I'm 7 years old. I don't know movies. I've only seen like 5 of them, but I know I saw this movie and it instantly became my favorite movie of all time. Probably held that position for about 6 to 9 months, but it doesn't matter. There was a period of time in 1977, and I totally forgot that Terry Garr was in this because she is the glue in all of these great movies. Oh, God. 1977, Terry Garr. Of course, you ask somebody who was in Oh, God. They're like John Denver and George Burns, and they'd be right. But you'd also have to say, what about Terry Garr? Put Upon Housewife. That was her best role. That was her thing. Her ground zero for her acting is housewife who's putting up with a whole lot of shit. And she's being cool about it, but there's only so much shit she's going to put up with. That was Terry Garr's acting energy. And I think the first time that we can really say that we saw it, it was in Oh, God, John Denver. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Again, Put Upon Housewife. Richard Dreyfuss is losing his shit in front of her. He's making a fucking mashed potato mountain at the dinner table. She takes the kids. She's gone. She's going to her family's. Kids don't need to see dad completely go nuts. Terry Garr, Close Encounters. So look at that, man. Those 3 movies, man. She's just rattling off 4 movies. She's rattling off. The Conversation, Oscar-winning film. Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks comedy classic, Oh, God, Gen X classic, Close Encounters, flat out Spielberg classic. All right, so now we're getting into the 80s, okay? 1980. She did Black Stallion. I never saw that. That looks stupid. That wasn't my speed. And then just a whole bunch of movies that made money, but, aren't really big hits or anything like that. The Escape Artist, One from the Heart, which is Brew, Black Stallion, Tootsie. 1982, man. Tootsie. Another monster film. Another, pop culture landmark film. Tootsie. She did Black Stallion Returns. Here we go. 1983. Once again, she plays the put upon married woman. 1983, another landmark pop culture film for Terry Garr, Mr. Mom. Who was in Mr. Mom? You're going to go, oh man, that's like Michael Keaton. That's the first time we saw Michael Keaton and said he could really be some. No! Keep forgetting about Terry Garr. Why? Because she's the glue. Because Terry Garr is the glue in all of these movies. Terry Garr playing the put upon housewife, the wife who goes back to work, forcing Michael Keaton to have to be Mr. Mom. That was 1983. And what did she do? After Hours, Firstborn, Miracles, Let It Ride, Short Time, Waiting for the Light, The Player, Dumb and Dumber. Helen Swanson, Dumb and Dumber. This is where it starts to get kind of sad. This incredible icon of 70s and 80s American film. This is where the world starts to forget about Terry Garr. Apparently she turned 50 and people were like, nope, not having any of that. She did a whole bunch of stuff. She worked a lot in the 90s. Nothing. Michael. She was in Michael. That was a good movie. Michael with John Travolta. He's the angel. Michael falls to earth. Doesn't matter. That's pretty much it. 2000. I'm trying to see the last thing. Nah, she hasn't really done anything since 2000. I'm trying to see, did she move into TV at some point in the 2000s maybe? Start showing up on shit. I can't remember the last time I saw Terry Garr in anything. I know she was sick, right? Didn't she have MS? But I don't think that's what killed her. We'll find out. Looks like she did Murphy Brown. She did Larry Sanders. Sabrina the Teenage Friends. There you go. Phoebe Abbott. She played Phoebe's mom. Apparently was also known as Phoebe. All right, there you go. That's it. Wouldn't know how to do a Terry Garr draft. You have to include a whole bunch of stuff from the 70s. Let me see exactly, how did she die? What are we saying is the cause of death? I know that she was sick. She died at 79 years old. Terry Garr, star of Young Frankenstein and countless other iconic American masterpieces. I added that. Terry Garr, the comedic actress who co-starred in hits such as Young Frankenstein and Tootsie, has died. She was 79. Garr's publicist, Heidi Schaefer, said that she died on Tuesday of, multiple sclerosis, surrounded by family and friends. I know that she'd had that. Like, I remember I think the last time, unfortunately, that I remember hearing about Terry Garr was in 2007 here when it was publicly disclosed that she was suffering from multiple sclerosis. But I'll tell you, she was 80 years old. So, you know, she was 80 years old. She had MS for the last 10 years or 15 years or whatever, and that's a terrible way to spend the last 15 years of your life. But she was 80. It was a good long life. She did a lot of cool things. People like her. She's Terry Garr. There you go. Putting her in heaven. By the way, yeah, just so that we can just clear that off the decks right now. Terry Garr is going to heaven. I know she's an actress. You're like, Pug, she's an actress. Don't actresses automatically go to hell? Sometimes, but not automatically. Terry Garr was sweet enough. She had a warmth. She had a kindness. She had a decency. And she just seemed like such a cool chick. She's going to heaven. Here's an interesting story. Do you guys watch Welcome to Wrexham? Welcome to Wrexham. That's the Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds TV show there on FX. They bought a soccer team. They bought a third-tier soccer team in Wrexham, Wales. And the team sucked and the town sucked and it's just blah. And Ryan Reynolds and what's the other guy? What's Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So then they buy this team and they move in, and now we're in like season 5. And trust me, the turnaround is over. Wrexham is good again. They like actually turned the team into a good winning team. They started pumping money. They made a reality show. The town is booming because of tourism. People love this show, and it's a very good show. It's a very well done show. Don't know if you've ever seen it. You do not have to watch soccer or understand soccer to enjoy the show. It's about a town. It's about a town in Wales that suddenly has big movie stars walking around and hanging out in the bars and stuff like that. And it's a really good show. Anyway, I'm not here to sell you the show. So they have turned around Wrexham. They Red Dragons, I believe that's what they are. They've turned around Wrexham. They're a good team now. They don't suck anymore. They're getting a new stadium. They're building like new stuff attached to the stadium. They're going to build out a whole complex. And they've also turned the team merchandise into a global phenomenon. Wrexham is a top 10 sports merchandise team in the world. You know, you got your Dallas Cowboys and your Man United and your whoever's big in the Bundesliga, and you know, all you've got like of the biggest. Wrexham, I think, is like in the. Oh, I know it's in the top 10, but I think it's like in the top 5. A third-tier Welsh rugby team. Why? Because Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, and Mac from It's Always Sunny are the owners of it, and they've suddenly made it a cool team. And I think they got promoted even. I don't know, whatever. They're doing stuff. Anyway, the big story here now is that there were concerns that after a couple of years, Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds were going to lose interest in Wrexham, and they would recoup their investment off of merchandise sales and all that stuff, and then they'd get out, and they would leave the town in basically the same place as it was. And I'm here to tell you that has not happened. That has not happened. In fact, the opposite seems to be happening. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney buy Wrexham Lager Brewery after rejuvenating the city's soccer team. So there's this brewery that's a big part of the Wrexham show. It's the main sponsor of the team, and it's a lager, and apparently it's the oldest lager beer in the world, and it's popular in that part of the world. We don't know what the fuck it is. We've never heard of it over here, but you know what I mean? It's one of those kinds of things. And they were a really big part of the team and all that kind of stuff. And so it's been announced that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are now owners of the world's oldest lager, Wrexham Lager Beer. They're going to build a new brewery attached to the new stadium that they're building. It's a whole complex. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have bought another piece of Wrexham, and it's their legendary brewery. 4 years after their out-of-the-blue purchase of Wrexham's struggling soccer team, the Hollywood celebrities have further invested in the city in North Wales by becoming co-owners of Wrexham Lager. All right, so think how cool this is. I mean, like, okay, first of all, let's be honest. It's cool to be famous. It's cool to be Ryan Reynolds. It's cool. It's people are always bothering me. Fuck you. Look, I'm sure there's some things that suck about it, but for the most part, it's pretty fucking awesome being Ryan Reynolds. Even the dude from It's Always Sunny, Rob, who I think is a genius, but whatever. It's cool being him as well. And celebrities always do these things, like to be like new things that celebrities do. You know, like, oh, this celebrity, he's racing cars now. That's his new thing. He's racing cars. These two, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, these two dudes, they're like puppet mastering an entire economy of like a town in a country. It's like a different level of celebrity. Like Wrexham was like, you know, fucking Allentown, Pennsylvania, basically. Until these two celebrities brought their cameras and their money and turned the football team into a good football team and bought up a bunch of bars and restaurants and redid them and made them nice. And then the show became a hit. And now suddenly you've got 15,000 tourists from Japan showing up every June. You know, I mean, it's completely changed this town. And it's like they're gods there. It's like this little town is like their little plaything. That they have made wholesale changes in the everyday lives of the people who live in Wrexham. It's gone from a hopeless, sad, dystopian, post-industrial age worker town to like this cool thing where celebrities hang out and where there's all kinds of new tourist attractions that they never thought were a thing, but now apparently the stadium is the tourist attraction. In fact, that was the other thing in this story, that the stadium is now the number one tourist attraction in the entirety of Wales. The stadium where Wrexham play. Why? Because Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. Now, I say this is something celebrities are doing. It is something celebrities are doing now because you know who just started doing this as well is Tom Brady. Tom Brady apparently owns another team, another third-tier league team in this football league over there in England, UK, whatever. And they just had a matchup. Tom Brady and David Beckham are the two dudes who brought up this team. And then they went up against Wrexham last weekend or something, which is Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. So that was like a big thing. Like these two it'd be like if like a AA baseball game had like all of these celebrities showing up. And like if everybody in the whole country was walking around wearing the jersey of like a AA team, that's essentially what we're talking about here. These are not Premier League soccer teams. This is a couple of rows, couple of rungs below that. Man, it's crazy. So basically all of these fears that these Hollywood celebrities were going to come in, take whatever they can like robber barons and then disappear out of town, that seems to be not true. They've purchased the brewery and they seem to be making serious investments in Wrexham moving forward. So it's a good story. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they seem like good dudes. They really do. And if you watch, it's the other thing about it. Like when the show first started, one of the reasons that I did not actually jump on the Wrexham TV show on Hulu right away was because I thought it was bait and switch. I'm like, there is no way that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are doing a reality show. They'll be in the first episode, and then maybe there'll be some Zoom calls where you see them in other episodes. But it's not going to be about that. I was wrong. It is about them. It is about them there. I mean, it's really good. It's legitimately these two Hollywood celebrities going into this town and just kind of changing the whole vibe and making everything happy and everything good. It's good. It's all good. And now they own the beer company in town too. Big fight here. A plane in the UK, 2 passengers. They were heading to Austin. Of course, Texas got to be involved. Texas got to be involved in stupid airplane shit. 2 people got into a fist fight while waiting in line to board a British Airways flight to Austin. Why? Why did they get into a fight? A 40-year-old and a 70-year-old. One of them was wearing a MAGA hat. Oh, my God. One of them was wearing a MAGA hat. I think it's the 40 or it was the 70-year-old. It was the 70-year-old wearing the MAGA hat. So the 70-year-old's wearing the MAGA hat. The 40-year-old is 2 women. 70-year-old's wearing the MAGA hat. 40-year-old woman goes, "Take off that hat!" Take off that hat. What? You can't tell somebody to take their hat off. Well, what? How do you expect me to respond to that? That would be my question. You need to take off that hat. I'd be like, no. You're just a dude in line here. I'm not taking off my hat. You don't tell me. You're not the hat police. Who the fuck? So now you got a thing. Now you got to admit, now you're in a thing. Right? Because you're not going to take off your hat. I know ego gets you into a whole bunch of situations, and you really, if a truly smart person would just be like, you got to be crazy to just order a stranger to take off their hat. You got to be crazy. That's not what a normal person would do. And I just want to get on this fucking plane. So I'm going to take my hat off here. I'm going to look him in the eye. I'm going to say, I'll take my hat off for you, because I don't want what is going to inevitably happen next, because this is going to go bad. I can tell. So you can maybe get away with that. But then your ego would be like, you're a pussy. You took that. See, that's where ego gets you in trouble. But if you would control your ego, you could be like, all right, fucker, I'll take my hat off. I'm watching you. And I'm only taking my hat off because I don't want to get into a fist fight, because that's what's coming next. And I'm going to make a decision as a mature, logical, lucid grown-up that we don't need to go in handcuffs. So I'm going to take my hat off. But anyway, so 70-year-old's like, I ain't taking the hat off. And a huge fight started right there in line. Like, you're going to take that hat off? I don't know. I just imagine black ladies. That's what I imagine. I imagine black ladies. I told you to take the hat off. I don't know. I have no idea. There are no pictures. Well, all we know is the 2 women were kicked out of a queue for a British Airways flight bound for the United States when they started fighting over a Donald Trump Make America Great Again cap. The pair, one in her 40s and the other in her 60s, were preparing to fly to Austin from Heathrow when one took offense to the hat. She demanded the owner take off the hat, sparking a fight in the departure lounge in front of shocked families readying to fly. The argument continued as they made their way into the premium economy area. Look, man, anybody can win the lottery. Just because you got money and just because you're flying premium and just because you're going, across the Atlantic, got access to the lounge and all that, doesn't mean you know how to behave. There's a lot of rich people that don't know how to behave. The argument continued as they made their way into the premium economy area of the plane, and both were eventually taken off the flight at the behest of the captain. The captain said, I ain't dealing with this nonsense. You people are gone. Here's a quote now. With the U.S. presidential election so close, tensions are sky high. Airline crew could not run the risk of a full-scale punch-up at 30,000 feet. British Airways officials cannot recall a flight being delayed before due to a passenger's baseball cap. This was an extraordinary situation. The flight eventually took off more than 2 hours late without either of the American passengers on board. Okay, boom, boom, there we go. Hold on. Okay, I was trying to find if there were any other or new details about these 2. Okay, so let's talk about these 2 fucking idiots, because we talk a lot about on this show how this show is for normal people. This show is for people who would not be involved in that situation in any way, shape, or form. This show is for people who might whip out their phone and start filming these jackasses. That you can do that and then send it to me. Both of these people are fucking idiots. Yeah, both of them are. Well, what do you mean? What about the person who's just wearing their MAGA hat? Why is he a fucking idiot? He's a fucking idiot because he's wearing a MAGA hat in 2024. I can expound on that. Just give me a moment. We'll work our way back around. But let's talk about the person, the other idiot. The idiot who thinks, I mean, they're existing in a construct where they're the hat police, where if they don't like your hat, this is the world this person lives in. If they don't like it, when they woke up in the morning, they looked in the mirror and they said, I'm telling you, if I don't like the looks of a hat, I'm going to tell them. That's the world that this person thinks that's okay. That's not okay for none of us. No, I don't care if you're the president of the goddamn hat union. I don't know what that is. Nobody has the right to tell you to take your hat off. If you're walking around in a hat, you want to wear a hat? Wear a hat. So some stranger in an airplane line, they're like, take your hat off. You know, it's such an odd, again, very complicated. It's such an odd situation to be in because nobody should think that they can demand you take the hat off. Nobody should think that. Nobody should think that I can tell them to take their hat off because, right? Goes without saying. There's so much in this world that I just always assume goes without saying. But no, we got to fucking say it all, apparently. Apparently it all needs to be fucking said. Don't put the baby in the microwave. Goes without saying. No, we got to fucking say it because somebody put a baby in a microwave once. Now we got to say it. Fuck. Both of these people are fucking idiots. Now let's get back to the person in the red MAGA hat. Why are they an idiot? Because they wore that fucking hat. And unless they're a goddamn retard, which they very well might be, they know what that hat means. They know that they're unnecessarily inciting fucking weirdos who can't control their emotions. These are two assholes. This is somebody from the 15% on the right who are lost forever, who feel that the most important thing about them is their support of Donald Trump. And everywhere they go, that's their brand with my hat. I hope a libtard sees it and we get it. They knew what they were doing. Take the fucking hat off. Be a fucking mensch. Be a fucking decent person. Take the goddamn hat off. We don't need your nonsense. I know you want to get into it. It's entrapment. Seriously, that's what it is. It's entrapment because you know there are these other people. I talked about the 15 on the right who would fucking just go out in public with their MAGA hat now, knowing and mix. Look, you want to wear your MAGA hat to a MAGA rally? That's fine. That's where you wear a MAGA hat to a MAGA rally. You want to wear it on election night? You want to wear it? It doesn't matter. Thing is, you should be able to wear it wherever you want. Here's what I'm arguing. Common sense and decency. And having been raised by people who taught you how to gauge the temperature of the room should tell you not to wear the fucking hat. Just don't wear it. Just don't wear it. That's all. That's all. Think of it as like blackface. Don't do blackface. Just don't do it. Don't really want to explain why. Take the temperature of the room. It ain't going to go over well. That's why. And you know it ain't going to go over well. So the red hat person in this British Airways situation is an asshole. The person who was like, take off your red hat is also an asshole. 15% on the left, 15% on the right. Here we are in the middle. We're the ones in the middle. We would neither have worn the red hat to the airport. I want everyone to know who I'm voting for because it's the most important thing about me. Go team. But that fucking idiot. And then you got the other person who's just so emotionally fragile that they just can't. You must take that off. Oh, fuck you. Not because I support the hat, not because I support the politics of the individual. Fuck you for thinking you can tell another human being what they can wear on their head. And you, with that shit on your head, fuck you for not knowing better. You troublemaking son of a bitch. You know what you did. All right, there we go. All right, what else do we have here to talk about today? The MAGA hat thing, that was fun, huh? Hey, here's an NFL fun fact that I came across this morning. We always like to talk about the NFL and parity and how, whoa, the NFL is seeking parity and good teams and nobody's great and there is no, that's kind of nonsense, especially when you look at this. Check out this NFL fun fact, okay? 9 teams in the NFL after 8 weeks of play. There've only been 8 weeks of play. Halfway through the season. We're halfway through the season. 8 weeks of play. 9 teams have already lost 6 games. 9 teams have already, there are 9 teams with 6 losses after only 8 weeks. There's a lot of shitty teams in the NFL this year. There are a lot of teams. Or is that an indication of parity? I don't know. Let's see. Here's what it says about that. Thought that was interesting. They're talking about why. Trying to figure out why. A record-tying 9 teams have lost at least 6 games in the first 8 weeks of this season. Inside the numbers, the NFL has been on a race to the bottom this season. A record-tying 9 teams have already lost at least 6 games in the first 8 weeks of the season, and many fan bases already have turned their focus from the playoff races to draft prospects and positioning. The only other season when 9 teams had lost at least 6 times in the first 8 weeks came back in 2000. All right. The only other time, 2000. Miami can join the group and break the tie with a loss on Sunday in Buffalo. All right, hold on, wait a second. Miami can join the group with a loss on Sunday in Buffalo after having an early bye in Week 6, which would tie the 2000 season with 10 teams starting 2-6 or worse. So there you have it. And that's probably going to happen. You got to figure that Miami's going to lose to Buffalo in Buffalo next week. Isn't that interesting, though? Because it's like when you think of like, what does parity mean? Well, parity means that everybody's good. Man, not always. Sometimes parity means that there's a whole lot of bad teams. A lot more bad teams than normal, or just a lot more uninspired teams. Uninspired's not the word. I don't know. All right, here's the last thing we're going to do today, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We're talking about the World Series last night. Did you see it? The Yankees come alive, baby. There will be no sweep. There will be no sweep, which is good. Oh, I was so worried. I mean, this was just such an amazing postseason for dying Major League Baseball. Just such an amazing postseason. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? We're getting Dodgers, Yankees in the postseason, and it's going to be a sweep. It's not even going to be competitive. No, that can't be. So the Yankees rose up, put on a big old hurt on the Dodgers last night. Them bats came alive. Excuse me. It was exciting. It was fun. So Dodgers get another chance tonight, 7 o'clock. Dodgers get another chance to try and win the World Series. Let's go Yankees, man. Come on. Let's go Yankees. Let's get it back to the West Coast. Let's get it back to LA. It's fun. It's fun. I would love for the World Series to carry over into the weekend. That's what I want. I want the World Series to carry over into the weekend. I think that'll be fun. It'll be good for Major League Baseball. A dying sport. But as I say, they're going down swinging. Gotta appreciate that. They've done a lot of really cool things lately. Too little, too late, motherfuckers. But still, gotta appreciate it. I do like what they're doing. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Once again, I want to thank our executive producer of today's show, the incredibly talented Tracy D. They were the big tipper yesterday. If you want to be the big tipper on tomorrow's show, you'll get to be the executive producer, or today's show. All you got to do is tip the biggest today. Didn't hear any tips, which hurts because it is Pledge Week. You can see the scroll there at the bottom, Pledge Week. Pledge Week is when we need to raise the money to keep the show going for another month, and could definitely use the help this month. It's not been a great one. Anyway, if you're so inclined, you want to support this kind of talk radio, non-political, talk for normal people, not the crazy 15 on the right, not the crazy 15 on the left, just us in the middle. And yes, I understand some of my friends are crazy on the left. Some of my friends are crazy on the right. I make exceptions because this is a dictatorship. This is not a democracy. I'll see you back here again tomorrow as we do another edition of The Rant with me, Pugs Moran, a daily stream of consciousness, a delve, what do we say? It doesn't matter. I'm out of things to say. I love you guys. RadioMisfits.com. Be well. Be well to each other and stuffs.